Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 145. So, we continue the journey in hazard identification. And on today's, I want to sit down and talk about the label of green chemicals. So, a couple of episodes back, I talked about let's look at chemical alternatives and safer and all that, and I I thought I did a pretty good job of that, and the more I dove into that, not that it's not that you can't find stuff that's safer, that's going to create less hazardous waste and all that, but when I really kind of started peeling back the onion, um, boy, I found out you can make just about any claim on anything. So there's a lot of things out there that have that label of, hey, it's green and it's safe and it's this, but like all things, you got to sit down and read that label. You got to read the SDS. You got to do the homework. Got to figure out what's in all this stuff. Then, um, so I'll just kind of start with do the research. You know, I did talk to a guy recently who thought that he found some kind of a miracle, and the way he described it is the salesperson did a great job, of course, and all that. And that's what salespeople do is they get you to buy their product. So you can't blame the salesperson. The guy takes full credit for it. Really should have done some research. Um, so they just did a little bit of a test trial, and it worked awful. So luckily at the last second they decided to do a trial. He was going to dive right straight in. The trial failed miserably, which is not always a bad thing because, like all things, you want to do everything you can to use the safest chemical. But I also know there's a reason why that we use the chemicals that we use out there. It's because they etch or they do whatever it is just right for the process. Now, there's a lot that they just found the cheapest thing possible, and you can go back and engineer out. But there are a couple that are pretty darn good to start with. The way they really sat down, set up the line, did all that stuff. So before you make any big changes out there, do that research, run yourself a test trial, get input from the workforce. You might think that you found something great, and let's say that you're going to go back, and of course I'm just making up something here. Okay, so you're going to take um, instead of cleaning something the old-fashioned way, we'll call it, you're going to take Dave's Super Cleaner, and you're going to use that instead then, and it might be safer and it might be greater. Let's just say for the sake of argument, the cost is a little cheaper and all that. But if it's going to take 2 times as long and everything else, not that it's not good to be safer, but you gotta factor in all that stuff out there. So, and the more I peel back the onion and really figure this out, OSHA and EPA have some fantastic resources out there to really help you to get going. They've got a lot of great here's what a company did, dot 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 and all that, and that's awesome and that's great. Look for third party testing. Ask for that testing out there. Because there's not going to be a governing body out there. I could turn around today and say, hey, I've got Dave's super cleaner is considered a green chemical, and the only thing I did is just change the um, change the formula, maybe 1 or 2%. Slap a Dave's green chemical, latest and greatest. You'll never find anything safer and cheaper and everything else. I don't have to actually provide any testing stuff, because there really is no governing body out there. There's a lot of principles they want you to follow, but you can really almost like when you go to certain stores and you see where it says, it'll do this and it'll do that. Well, when you really look at the back, it'll say that this is what we believe that it'll do, and it's never been tested and all that stuff. Um, the same thing I found with a couple of these when I started to make a couple of phone calls and inquiries, they really don't have any data. They just say, well, I know it's better than this, and not that that's bad, but for me, I really need that data. So uh, we're going to wrap it up today. Today's was just a short and sweet. Uh, I want everybody to look at the safest chemical out there. Use it, of course, obviously, and all that. Got to do a trial. Make sure it works. Got to get input from folks, you know. And you can put anything on anything out there and ask for that data. Go back and ask, figure this out exactly. When you say you're 25% better than what? Show me the trial as opposed to, well, we just know that it just is. Well, has to be data. So episode 145 is complete. Talked a little bit more on the journey of hazard identification. I wanted to go back and talk just a little more about green chemicals out there. So I think it's awesome and it's great, but like anything, make sure that you know exactly what you're buying. Get that data. Episode 145 is complete. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you and have a safe day.